Well, I've been really impressed with Callum Hawkins. I like the way he's approached this Commonwealth Marathon, both on the day and in terms of his preparation coming into it. I like the way that he really has dominated it, hasn't allowed anyone else to even get a sniff of thinking that it might be their day, including the defending champion Mike Shelley. He's done a grand job of defending his title. It says they're chaser. They probably change that word to just, you know, hanging on in second place at the moment in a strong way, though. I think he's in no danger at this point from behind. That action of his, as he said, that, you know, for a tall man, it's a short stride and it's an effective one, though. A little bit more respite from the heat for Callum Hawkins, following that blue line onto this side of the road.
We haven't had any indication of the actual temperature out there this morning, but I'm sure, I mean, it was forecast to be climbing up to 30 degrees out on the roads, and the humidity pretty high at the beginning. As we look at Eleanor Kirk just crossing the line for Wales there in 15th position. So Wales in the women's marathon have come away with an 8th place with Carol Jones and 15th for Eleanor Kirk, but Scotland leading the way in the men's marathon and ably backed up by Robbie Simpson back down the road as well. I think he was 12th, was he, at the last count for Robbie. So Robbie's having a very good run out there too. And Callum, I bet you that's going to be one of the first things he asks when he crosses the line is, how's Robbie doing, and what's Robbie doing back there? I think they will have spent some time out here preparing together on the Gold Coast, and will have been inspired a little bit by Jake Whiteman's run last night as well.
Well, I can tell he's improving. He's 8th.
Excellent.
And after the last checkpoint, we saw obviously Metabili drop out, so that will make him 7th at this point. Mutai's in 3rd place. Liam Adams of Australia in 4th place. Makula of Tanzania and Mungara of Kenya just ahead of Robbie Simpson. So he's going well, and he'll be delighted. He will have seen Hawkins at the front, and so success here for Scotland in this Commonwealth Marathon. We're hoping for success, of course. Mo Farah going next week. Oh, Callum, careful, careful. Just watch that camber there. He's really forcing the issue at the moment, but just need him to be careful there as we watch the closing stages of the women's race. I said London next week. Don't forget BBC One, 8:30. Her Majesty the Queen is going to be starting that race. Mo Farah going. And then Boston Marathon on the red button on Monday, 2:20. Maloney just crossing the line for Australia. Needs a bit of attention quickly as well. Now, Callum Hawkins, you and I both thinking, get out of the curb. He's just wandering across the road too much for my liking.
Getting very worried now. He's looking very almost delirious in the way that he's running, and I just hope he hasn't put too much effort in too soon in this race, because that isn't a good sign. That is not a good sign. We're watching Maloney, but Callum Hawkins is in real distress here in this marathon. He had it all to himself, and Callum is in real distress. The sad thing is he won't realise it. He doesn't realise that he's weaving as much as we can see. This is not good for Callum. Now, he's taken the hat off. He's trying to concentrate. He's in a really bad way. He's in a really bad way. And I hope there's some medical attention close by here. Callum is collapsing. They really need to get someone to him quickly. They've got to be in the lead vehicle. Somebody has got to get to Callum. This is tragic to see. He was going so well, but he's pushed too hard. Somebody needs to get to him. There's too far to go, way too far to go. It's not as though it's the last 100 meters. He's still got a long way to go. Please. Somebody just help it. He can't be too far away from the 40-kilometer point, and we hope it's brave from Callum, team.
But when you become delirious, you're not really in charge of sensible decisions. It's hot and it's tough. It's the marathon where you, of course, see people get in real distress, but it's a long way to go for Callum here. He seems to be, he keeps forcing it again.
This is just how tough Callum Hawkins is to be able
bridge.
to get up off that. He's got to crest this bridge, though, to get to the 40-kilometre point, where he will be able to get a little bit more energy, a little bit more fuel into himself.
They need to, you know, as I said, I mean, I'm just concerned for his welfare. Of course it's brave, and of course we'd love to see him manage to get through this, but when you see people in this state, Paula, it's not easy to keep going. Your body is saying to you, I'm running out of energy, I'm running out of the fuel I need to get even to the last. He's got a mile and a half of running, a mile and a half from the finish line, and yes, you can manage it. This is a championship race, though, and you know what's going to happen next is that Shelley will come round that corner and probably sense what's happening. You have to admire this, but on the other hand, you have to be concerned.
Yeah, you have to be really worried for him, because I mean, we've seen this in the closing 100 metres or so, and people make it to the finish. We memorably saw it in London last year with people being helped there, but this is still over 2 kilometres out from the finish, and it's worrying because, as we talked about, and now he's hit his head on the barrier. Somebody needs to come out from there.
I'm sorry for if you're watching this at home. It is really distressing to see any athlete getting into this position. He is going to hurt himself. Somebody really. Nobody anywhere near. This is not good. We should have some more medical attention. It's not to help him. You can't help him cross the line. You get disqualified, that sort of thing. But this is a guy in real distress, and somebody needs to recognise it.
It's for his health at this point, and there were enough bikes alongside on the road. Somebody should be getting to him to help him.
Mike Shelley of Australia in second place, but Callum Hawkins ahead by the side of the road, and I hope that they can get some help to him quickly. Callum Hawkins will be coming over that bridge shortly.
I'm taking pictures. I mean, I'm sorry, but you should be ashamed of yourself. There should be people coming to his assistance quicker. Now you can see Mike Shelley.
It's the race officials. That's what's bothering me. Where on earth is the help? Where are the medical staff? You cannot just wait at the finish line. People get in distress further down the course, and marshals are there. They've got radios. They surely should be able to tell the organisers that there is an athlete in real distress, and finally somebody arrives. Mike Shelley is coming through. Poor Callum Hawkins.
He's delirious.
He is completely delirious, Paula, and that is a situation where they just have to look after his welfare. Whatever he might think about the race as Shelley goes past, they need to look after Callum. So Shelley moves into the lead. The man who won in Glasgow, and he won't take any pleasure from this at all. He will defend his title here. And I think it's disgraceful.
They're still just leaving him to lie by the side of the road, like you say, and in that position he can't make a decision, so somebody medically has to come in and get him the attention that he obviously needs. But for Mike Shelley as well, I mean, he, like you say, you share the road out there with your competitors, and you share the emotions, and he will also, much as he will be buoyed by the fact that now he's come into a very, very surprising victory in this race, he will be concerned for Callum, and he will be wondering why he wasn't being helped a little bit more. I'm sure he's also weaving a little bit on the road, but he's now got to that station, which is what I think in Callum's mind he was trying to first make that and then think about trying to get to the finish.
Well, I really hope. I could still see Callum in the distance, and still didn't look as though there was any help to him. You know, in a major event, there's a Gold Coast Marathon here. I'll bet you there's more medical people on the route, particularly in the latter stages when we have a mass participation event. I cannot understand why it's taken so long to get somebody to an athlete who is in obvious distress, completely delirious. Conditions have taken their toll and is hard running. And Callum Hawkins, I hope, is being looked after now. So in the meantime, Shelley, with a clear road ahead now, and as I said, if Paula was saying, you know, he's had a hard race himself. Obviously, Mutai will now move into second place.
It's complete carnage out. I mean, we've talked about how hard the conditions are, and we've seen hot conditions in championship marathons before, but I don't think I've ever seen such a big impact on the lead, and it hit the runners so quickly. Geratic we saw go from looking good to suddenly looking bad. Absolutely heartbreaking for what we've seen happen to Callum, but now Mike Shelley doesn't look good either.
No, Mike's having to work hard. He doesn't have too far to go, one incline, and he'll grit his teeth and hopefully be able to keep going from his point of view. The crowd doing their best to lift him. And there were very distressing pictures of Callum Hawkins, and one can only hope that somebody is, I mean, if nothing else, they're watching the same pictures that we are watching, and how it's taken so long, or was taken so long. I really need someone to, will have to explain to me and to others, I think, but hopefully he's okay. 41k, just over a kilometre to go for Shelley. Now, the interesting thing is that Robbie Simpson may be moving into a medal position of Scotland. I said that now, once Matabele stopped, there was Liam Adams was still up there, the other Australian. We've seen Mutai in second place at the moment.
From Northern Ireland as well has moved into 5th place, I think. He's not too far behind Makula of Tanzania, who in turn is only 3 seconds behind Robbie Simpson. So I mean, it's just turning into a war of attrition out there, and just survival out on the roads, I think, and just getting every last ounce of energy from your body and trying to judge it well. Mike Shelley so far is the man who's managed that the best out there on the roads. He's used to running on the Gold Coast roads, and I'm used to getting it right for championships, but as to is Callum Hawkins, and unfortunately it's...
Well, you know, we're obviously incredibly disappointed and indeed concerned for Callum, and understandably so, but you know, from an Australian perspective, you know, they'll hope that Callum is okay, but everyone will accept that in the marathon that can happen, and so we shouldn't take it away from Mike Shelley. He's managed to hold himself together here, and he's going to defend his title. Rob Di Castella, the only one who managed to do that in 82 and 86, winning in Brisbane, just up the coast from here in 1982, and then again when the Commonwealth Games were held in Edinburgh in 1986, and it looked as though Mike Shelley is going to emulate the great Australian hero Rob Di Castella in winning 2 Commonwealth gold medals in the marathon.
It's hard work going up. Is he up the big rise yet?
He's just got 300-400 metres to go now. You'll be able to see the turn just ahead of him. He's gone over the hump, and he now just holding it together here, Mike Shelley. He'll be the first to ask, I'm sure, about Callum Hawkins as well. The athletes all know that it could be them in that situation. But the excitement growing for Australia at the finish line. The 3 women who contested the marathon for them, they won a silver and a bronze in the women's race, but it's going to be a gold for Australia in the men's. There may yet be a medal for Scotland in the shape of Robbie Simpson, but we aren't getting any pictures from further down the route, and we'll get you the 40-kilometre split as soon as we get it, to tell you where Robbie Simpson is or was. Shelley, though, leading this. And for him, this could be an incredible moment, or will be an incredible moment, I'm sure.
The 42-kilometre sign on the inside there will be a very, very welcome sight for Mike Shelley. I'm sure he's run this finishing section. I'm sure he's run it in his mind a good few times as well, preparing for this moment, but he's going to get a huge reception now. He's got the welcoming committee of the 3 Australian, 2 medalists and 3 Australian women in the women's marathon who've hung around, waited to welcome him down the home straight. He's found the flag too.
So Mike Shelley of Australia is going to take the gold medal in circumstances in which I don't think even he would want to necessarily, but he's been very, very good. He's stuck to his task well and celebrates the gold medal, defends his title, the winning time 2:16, but that was a case of just sticking to the job, and I'm sure he can't believe it. Elation for Mike Shelley, and that will mean an awful lot to him. But poor Callum Hawkins. 1 minute looked so strong and running so well, and then the next unable to keep going. Now, what has been happening further down the road behind Shelley? He'll go and celebrate his gold, and rightly so. Great moment for Australia. That's 13 gold medals now for them in athletics. But I think Scotland could well have a bronze medal with Robbie Simpson.
I mean, it's still very much to play for out there. The gap from Mutai back to that group with Simpson, Makula and Seaward approaching was a lot bigger than the gap amongst those 3 there. So it's going to be a real race if we can get back and maybe get some pictures of what's happening back down the road. We may not be able to do that. Here we are.
There's Simpson in the background.
Yes. And Mutai checking his watch.
Mutai is clear in 2nd place. Well, not the sort of drama. There's always drama in the marathon, but from a Scottish and a home country perspective, that's not the sort of drama we want to see. Callum Hawkins in such distress, but there will be a medal here for Scotland. Seaward of Northern Ireland, we think, is in 4th place, but the flag of Uganda being grabbed by Mutai to celebrate his silver medal. That's his 2nd championship medal, bronze medal at the Worlds in 2015 in Beijing, silver medal at the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast on a terribly tough day for all of the competitors. His time 2:19, and that will be the hardest 2:19 he ever runs.
So tight.
Well, Robbie Simpson, he's just made his way through. I'm sure he will have had a thought, he will have seen Callum, and for him, though, this is a bronze medal he could only have dreamt of. Robbie Simpson, smiles for him, and he can celebrate a fantastic run, picking people off all the way. He gets the bronze for Scotland. Great performance, what a moment in his career. The times are irrelevant today. Well, finally, Callum, and that, I still say, is something which should have happened an awful lot sooner. Callum was in real distress, and finally the medics have got to him. What, 15 minutes or so after that. That looked like Lindsay Sharp there, I think.
I think that was Lindsay. I don't know whether she was out on the course supporting, but saw pictures. Yeah, we've just got some news that he is conscious.
Yeah, he looked to be conversing with the medical staff there, so hopefully it's the sort of thing we see so often in marathons, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your body just goes no more, and there's another very tired athlete coming in.
Well, congratulations to Mike Simpson on retaining that title there in such brutal conditions. Also, congratulations, of course, to Robbie Simpson claiming that bronze medal. But, of course, Callum Hawkins there, really let's be honest, heartbreaking and concerning images there. We heard Steve Cram saying it was quite concerning to see that, so apologies for anybody who was sort of shocked by the images that we saw there. Of course, we will continue to try and keep you updated on his progress, but it really does illustrate the level of dedication and superhuman strength that the athletes are putting in here, particularly in these brutal conditions. Well, but if you were with us a little bit earlier in the day, we've had marathon action, and it's been, well, quite a brutal marathon. No surprise with the sort of weather and conditions we get out here. But there was a bronze medal for Robbie Simpson, and he spoke to Jeanette Poachi after the event.
Robbie, a bronze medal for Scotland in the most challenging circumstances. Just talk us through.
Well, that was the toughest marathon I've ever done. You know, to begin with, I thought my target was actually to be top 10. And then the lead pack went away about 6 kilometres in, and I thought, I'll just let them go, run my own race. And I was running on my own most of the way, really. And then I thought, I'll just wait till the turnaround point and then really go for it. And as I got to there were guys just dropping off everywhere. And I was actually feeling like knackered. And at every single drink station, I had some energy drinks and water, and just kept pushing. And then more and more guys were coming back, and then I thought, whoa, some of these guys look pretty quick. So, you know, and then someone said I was in 4th place, and I could see 3rd just ahead. And there was a bit of a hill going over the bridge, so I just sprinted up the hill and then just managed to hang on to take the bronze.
An inspired performance. You were definitely motivated, but we have to ask, on the course, we did see Callum go down, your teammate. Any news, any word?
Well, I've heard he's okay now, he's talking, but like, it's a big shock, to be honest. You know, I heard he was leading, and that really spurred me on, actually, because people were saying to me, oh, come on, Scotland's in the lead. So I thought, well, I want to do as best I can, you know, so me and Callum are both up there, and then I heard the leader had stopped, and I was thinking, well, I hope it's not Callum. And I saw him lying there, and I thought, like, to be honest, I wanted to actually stop and see if he was all right, but I'd just overtaken the 4th place, and I thought, well, yeah, I've got to get to the end. But I hope he's okay. Yeah.
And what is that like, that wrestle with emotions when you can see your teammate, but you know you're in for a medal?
Well, it's kind of conflicting because Callum was here to win it, and without doubt, I know he could have won it, you know, had he not collapsed. But it's just dealing with the conditions on the day, and you know, these things happen in the marathon, so I had to make the most of it. You know, I think he would have been disappointed if I'd, you know, stopped and missed out on a medal. So, but I hope
well, congratulations on that fantastic bronze.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, you heard Robbie talking about his friend and teammate Callum Hawkins there. There was some disturbing images earlier as we saw him really leaving everything out on the track, collapsing on the bridge some way up the coast. And there was some concern as to the response of the officials here and the time that it took to get to him. But we can actually hear from Mark Peters, who's the CEO of the organising committee, when he's been talking in a press conference about that issue.
You can't have medical people on every kilometre of the road, so they are professionally positioned, the same as we do in our Gold Coast Marathon, where we have 30,000 people. So we're looking for more information. Obviously, the health of the athlete is absolute prime. Sometimes medical people arrive too, and the athlete has to make a decision as to whether they want to go on or not. And I understand that was part of a discussion at a point in time, because you know, incredibly, athletes in whatever state they are want to finish, and we've seen that in other marathons. So it's best for us to get information at the moment, which we are attempting to do. Certainly, there's no reason there would be deliberate delays, and you know, our thoughts are with the athlete, who will be looked after, and we will find out factually what happened, and then others can learn from what goes on.
Well, I'm sure it's a story that we're going to hear a lot of in the coming day and across our coverage. Of course, we'll try and keep you updated on the current status of Callum. We did hear earlier that he was conscious, he was receiving medical attention, but as we say, we'll continue to update you on that story. Well.